welcome everybody. We got a couple people on online here. Everyone good to go for that? We're not waiting for anybody more.
No,
I think that's it.
Yeah, you're good.
So it's gonna start off with land acknowledgement. I'm just gonna go ahaad and read from the script, if that's okay. We begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is a traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe people, many to whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with one spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nation Métis, and Inuit people, and acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship. All right, so just need to approve the agenda. So can I get a motion, David?
Before we approve, though, I think you commented about moving C3 up to the top of the report discussion.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and move to C3, please, the executive committee update for the minutes.
Sorry, if I could do very quickly for that.
Sure.
Sorry, thanks.
So we're going to move down to the C3 executive committee updates. We had some minutes. Do you want me to read this, or have we all had a chance to read it? I'll read it real quick. It's decently long, but I'm happy to read it. We good? Let's do it. Whereas downtown St. Catharines is an economic hub and a very unique part of the city, we, with a diverse community of residents, public and private sector employers, business and commercial tenants, and property owners. And whereas the SCDA board welcomes residential density downtown to support economic growth, recent success downtown that is a result of a creative cluster master plan, the CCMP, supports this position. And whereas our members have endured decades of construction and are dealing with greater social challenges daily than others everywhere else in the city. And whereas our members deserve that same level of opportunity to succeed in all other businesses and property owners enjoy in other parts of St. Catharines and Niagara. And whereas based on research, interviews, and experience a heritage designation would impose undue financial stress on our members through increased insurance premiums and more limited access to financing. And whereas the city of St. Catharines provides very restricted and limited funds to support renovations to a heritage designated property, and whereas there are currently no tax reductions in place for heritage properties, therefore be it resolved that the SCDA board does not support a blanket downtown heritage district. Instead, we support preserving historic buildings on a voluntary individual designated basis using an updated creative cluster master plan. We just got to ratify, I guess. Seconder.
Sorry, so it's on the table.
It's on the table.
Oh, yes, the motion, sorry.
Yeah. And then a seconder can come to play, or we can open discussion, whatever.
Any seconds.
But like, do I second this?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
I would put the motion on the floor for us to
Oh,
discuss it.
yes,
I do, yes.
And it's open for discussion.
All right. So does anyone have any comments or any questions or concerns?
I guess. So were there meetings with insurance companies and banks?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. What happened?
I'm
Not sorry, it's not a yes or no. Like, is there, what's the information?
So basically the information is that insurance would be harder to obtain because some insurance providers don't support heritage buildings, and it would be more costly. More costly as well. And then through financial institutions, the feedback there was typically where it would be affected is in the loan to value So if you've got a heritage building, you could not, get the true value for it. So reduce what you get for, and the appraisal value maybe. Those are the main things.
So.
I'm not able to hear anything. I'm not able to hear anything.
The speaker got reset.
Can you hear now?
Joe, can you hear something now?
No, we can't hear Joe.
It's a
Couple
red
minutes.
button.
I think it's just a little
No.
choppy.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's really good at Sharvin's end. I don't hear.
No one else is talking.
It was better at the beginning.
Can you hear me? Amy's got a comment.
Thank
Shut
you.
off. A second, it's on now, so it should be okay now.
Okay.
But it was off for a little bit.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
keep us updated, Joe, but just to answer your question,
Yeah.
so we had a couple meetings, we had re-meetings actually as well with Meridian VP. And the three main drivers that kept coming up were, it's gonna be more expensive if we do a designation blanket. It's going to limit the amount of
Leverage.
well, no, well, that too, but which in turn limits the amount of players, developers that want to get involved in these type of buildings. And then the third thing was it also limits the tenants, because the tenants are also going to be taking on the burden of whatever comes of the designation. So those are the three drivers.
And did anyone get a hold of the Thorough Downtown Association?
No, we were focusing more specifically on going for insurance providers and financial providers, just because they're the ones that we would, like our members would have to go through directly.
Have we had meetings with other people that own heritage buildings or other DTAs that are heritage districts?
When it first came out, we had a meeting with Mississauga, who are undertaking a number of heritage districts.
But they're undertaking it, but like someone who, like maybe Port Dalhousie
Don't
or
even,
Thorough. that is-
Port Dalhousie and downtown St. Catharines are like not an apple against
Oh,
an
no, it's not
apple.
it. I'm just asking like,
Right.
because obviously they have insurance and they work with a lender potentially and, so.
And I think that may be answered Thursday. The architect, Michael Marinak,
Mhm.
who's involved in a number of buildings, including heritage buildings, can
Yeah.
answer that better.
Yeah, somebody,
So just being like a property owner and a business owner, banks already cause as like retail is, what do they call it?
it's a risk.
It's a very high risk. So when you add a level to it and then trying to have insurance in a downtown core are very hard just in general. So adding that extra layer onto it, I could even just imagine not even approaching a conversation that it would be extremely terrible for any business. Like, and we don't have retail down here and we need more retail down here. Hence, you already see in front of your face, Oast is not even be able to open, not because of heritage, because of other complications of not having enough employees. Then he mentioned at the floor that he wanted to blanket it because we didn't have enough people to go door to door. But yet on the flip side, when they do, and you want to get something done, or you're the property owner, and I do, and Sharvin and someone else, and we all say, we're going to end up being in this huge lineup because, again, he said out of his own mouth, he doesn't have enough staff. So we're already struggling. When we're already struggling, why are we adding another layer of struggle, especially being a property business owner? That would be my fear.
Plus the other thing too is timelines to process. If you, God forbid, have a loss, insurance wise, you need at least another 6 months process. So therefore, you add onto your insurance policy, not just 12 months anymore, you have to add 18 months or maybe 2 years. Because the process is longer. It's struggling even to agree with heritage, non-heritage, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Premiums are higher.
Well, you also might have to, leave your insurance company that you've had a relationship with us for some time.
Okay, I did my homework.
But
Insurance.
what for insurance? Like no insurance.
Nobody, you're even having a risk of having no insurance not down as it is.
There are heritage buildings in down here that can't get insurance.
Can't get insurance.
So, we didn't dig very far because we really didn't need to. The evidence was so clear when we spoke to the professionals in insurance and financial fields and development fields. We had a bunch of guests. Were you at the last meeting? There was a bunch of guests that
Oh, yes,
showed
I was
up.
there,
There
yes.
was, some realtors, some mortgage people, all which are very concerned about the financial impact on downtown
that a policy like this would create. So no, we didn't talk to Port Dalhousie or Yates, which are other two
Yeah, there's a bunch,
designations.
yeah.
But you know, the evidence was pretty clear at the front that like nobody wants a financial hurdle. Right now, we have enough on the streets, and let's try and figure out how, if we want heritage to be, we want to support heritage. Everyone loves heritage.
Yeah. It would to be successful, yeah.
But it needs to be on an individual basis, and there needs to be some sort of, process to it. It can't just be a blanket and loop everybody into it.
But this is just a study.
It is, yes. So it's a study phase right now where the consultants will come back, share their findings to say it warrants designation, it doesn't warrant designation. And that's where we need to be at the table to say,
Absolutely.
if you're thinking of going down the designation route, here's our concerns. So
Can I add something?
Sorry, go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
Thank you. I've been waiting patiently. We're in lockstep with the GNCC board. The GNCC board understands all of the dynamics that we're discussing for downtown business, property owners, investors. And the board has confirmed that the motion that we're putting forward, they're waiting for the DTA to ratify that, and they're ready to bring that same message to City Council. You know, we were never consulted on the study initially for some reasons that have come to light, but we weren't part of the council deciding to do this study. Our perspective belongs right smack in the middle of that study. I think that's why this is so very important. They need to know what the business community feels about this, and our DTA board's position and the GNCC board's position will be made public and absolutely belongs inside this study. Thanks.
If I can just take a couple of minutes and I want to indicate that I think everybody at this table is not against individual volunteer heritage buildings. There are a number of them. St. Paul Street, St. Thomas Church, the old courthouse, the old registry building. Individually, most people are not opposed to the individual volunteer. In terms of the whole downtown district, let me suggest to you that a number of years ago, council had looked at an entertainment district for downtown, Councillor Mark Elliott, and they found that would have killed retail and office. And the restrictions that were put on that, and City Council at the time said, no.
It came back with the Creative Cluster Master Plan, and out of that came 5 massive public investments downtown.
Joe, just hold on a second, please. If a heritage district were created, there would be no courthouse because there was a beautiful old, I'm going to even say the Wright Mansion that was there. You would not have the Performing Arts Center. There was a historic theater, a very, very old Dominion store. You would not have had the pack. You would not have had former police headquarters on Church Street because there were buildings that had to be demolished. You would not have had 110 James, which was an office building and then police headquarters. You can't demolish historic buildings when they are designated. The only place you can do it now is the cabinet of the province of Ontario to take off that designation. And the cabinet is saying, we don't want to get involved with that. You can't, when you're in a heritage district, you can't demolish buildings, period. And the ones that I've just mentioned.
David, that's crap.
No. Well,
it's actually not true. Yeah, but I'm listening to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll hear your response. With the no demolition,
That's like a Niagara on the Lake. Yates Street might be like that as well, maybe, but
the other thing in the report says, we got 5 heritage districts. Okay, the only comparable is one street in Port Dalhousie. Don't compare Queen Street residential. Don't compare Yates Street and these are people that are making their livings and their livelihood. They're not residential. It's totally different. I believe it should be on an individual and volunteer basis. We can't support a heritage district. It will be, in terms of progress and any future development, it'll be a nail in the coffin with the restrictions. Many people receive notifications. They're on this list. There's about 90, I think, downtown on the list. The city had indicated everybody got notice. I included the fellow next to me at 12 Church Street. This was during COVID. Businesses were closed. And it wasn't fair. The city said, well, we sent notice to all these people that are on the registry now that the majority do not want to be on the list. It was during a period when people weren't working. And it just can't do it.
Was that on a voluntary basis though? Or
No.
was that on something that they were gonna?
No, the city went around and said, this, we wanted.
But regardless, COVID or not, what I'm asking you is, it's not like you could appeal it. Could you?
No, you
So
can't.
then, I mean, it doesn't
If
matter
it
whether
goes,
was
if it
COVID
goes
or-
ahead now,
Some people didn't even know.
if it goes ahead, some
Right.
people didn't even,
So
don't
maybe
even
that
know their
doesn't have
buildings
anything
are
to
on
do
this
with them
registry.
now. Mhm.
So again, a district is going to be so detrimental. Individual volunteer, absolutely, we support it. And again, Joe had mentioned the Creative Cluster Program. We've got the Performing Arts Center. We've got
Rock
MTO,
University.
Rock University.
University. They wouldn't have been built. They wouldn't have been
Meridian
built.
Center.
But they are as a result of the cluster included that. And we're saying embellish the cluster program.
Because it works.
It's work. It's showing its work. So that's what we're suggesting. but
Raise all
not-
ships.
Yeah, so that's my comment.
Steven, you want to go or you want Jen?
Stephen could go first.
I think I've talked to the owners of the property that I represent. And I think this is totally overstated. I find it embarrassing that a board of this nature would be taking this kind of position at this time.
So prematurely. Yeah.
I'm really disappointed. There's people around this table I have a lot of respect for, and they're ignoring facts. The comment by David that you can't demolish heritage buildings, a heritage designation is a local bylaw passed by council. Council and only council can repeal that bylaw. So should they repeal a heritage designation bylaw, then you can demolish. And in fact, even with the designation in place, council can approve a demolition. So if I'm sorry, I've only been doing this for 50 years, so I have a sense that that's the truth. And if it isn't,
You
need
more time.
Go ask Pat, go ask your lawyer and he'll tell you. So it's that kind of information that is being spread around this town, which I find very unfortunate. And I find this motion overstated. I find it very interesting that our members have endured decades of construction. The town, this city, and the taxpayers of this city have supported the construction of the Meridian Center and the Performing Arts Center. Now, if that is construction that we didn't want, we should have told us. But it was a key to downtown. I also understand that this board was very supportive of two-way streets. And it took many years to get two-way streets. Council approved two-way streets in order to improve the economic viability of downtown. An initiative that I supported in the early 80s. It eventually happened thanks to Joe and many other people in the early 2000s. So I find it very disappointing that this kind of motion is even being considered. Now, I have no problems with the board indicating that they're concerned about a designation. None. However, I think until we know what this study that's underway finds out and proposes, and until we know the options that are available, we shouldn't be choosing one option over another. And I would think when you go to council with a premature recommendation, I would be embarrassed. I'm making a decision about something that I don't know, have all the information. And what I'm hearing is the kind of information that David just presented isn't correct. So that's even more embarrassing. So I don't have any problem with the board identifying concerns that will be evaluated over the long term. But I do feel that we shouldn't be making a recommendation on a specific direction until we have all the information. And right now, we don't. I do agree that some of the information that you have with respect to heritage insurance is correct. But what I find interesting is that people that own downtown buildings, especially the ones that are investing now in downtown, do so because they love the downtown. And they love the heritage aspects of the downtown. And they're investing in the downtown and have suffered through all kinds of additional bureaucratic crap in order to be downtown. But they still love downtown. So there's no doubt we're dealing with a situation where people love the environment that they're in. But I'm concerned that we're overreacting at the moment to a situation that hasn't yet arisen. It hasn't come to bear. I guess I remember when the hole on St. Paul Street next to Diana Suites. I don't know, some of us remember Diana Suites. And there's a hole there called the parking lot. Just move that hole down beside beside Patelli's building on St. Paul Street. Just move it down. Then you got two big holes downtown on the main street, on a major visual curve on St. Paul Street. Move that hole further along St. Paul Street. And what do you have? Big holes along the streetscape landscape of downtown. This beautiful heritage landscape that people seem to like. So my sense would be is that why don't we wait for the study to start and understand what the opportunities might be so that we don't have more holes in our teeth as we go down St. Paul Street, and we in fact protect to the extent necessary and appropriate the streetscape of St. Paul Street, which I understand people like. So that would be my suggestion. I'm certainly not voting for the motion as it is. I would, in fact, the motion needs softening considerably from my perspective. It is way overstated. It's very emotional. It just needs some basic professional commentary based on a professional response to this situation rather than an emotional response. So that would be where I would go. And the GNCC, I'm sure they'll follow our lead if you've talked to them. But I think at the moment, we are way ahead of ourselves. So I will not be supporting this motion. I would be happy to participate in softening some of this. Because I do agree that downtown development is a little bit more difficult because of paperwork, but that's what we bought when we bought into downtown.
Just a quick question. Would you say, you had mentioned in what you were saying is that the insurance would go up, correct?
No, I'm
Or
saying
even-
they're, you know, it's like everything down.
I'm just saying, just in general as a heritage, you mentioned when you were saying that the insurance would go up. Did
I
you?
didn't say that. I don't know.
I wrote it down when you said it, but I was just questioning whether you understand that the mortgages go up, just so that we're all on the same page. Two main things for a property owner, just two main things, no matter what. In heritage, is it a fact that insurance and mortgages go up?
It's more difficult.
No, just in general, as a property owner.
Okay, hold on.
Can I?
I'm speaking, and
I
I don't want to respond to your question, okay?
Okay.
Okay, well, let's keep it going.
This is totally unprofessional.
Thank you for your comment.
I'm just embarrassed
So-
by this board. So I've made my commentary. I find this presentation by the executive an overreaction to a situation that has not yet happened.
As a professional who worked in these instances for a living, I agree with Stephen 110%. I myself, as a engineer in sustainable infrastructure systems, have worked on heritage buildings to make them modern or solar, you name it.
Individuals, right? Individual buildings?
No, industrial, all sorts of
No,
stuff,
but
like
districts or buildings?
I'm talking, some of them were buildings and a couple of them were districts. I wasn't direct on those projects, but it's important to kind of, I guess, preface that in two instances, and this is so long ago, so I can't even remember where they were, but they were in the province. They were districts and they created an opportunity when people were discussing these very issues with respect to banking and insurance, where I'm sure people were probably dealing with the same thing because they were upset because they might have had really decades and decades and decades old insurance relationships with the company, and now they were being rejected. Where other companies swooped in and took after the whole district. So I know the same thing is kind of happens with classic cars and other things like that, where you cannot get insurance and you go to a very specific insurance broker and the insurance can actually be the same.
Same cost.
Literally, and sometimes it's less. I know even for some things it was less, okay? Because you were working with a professional that did exactly that, and that's all they pretty much specialized in. Banking, I'm not sure about. I also want to preface that these, in my experience, these things are an evolution. None of this stuff is going to happen overnight. The study isn't even remotely, practically just beginning. The city might actually reject it. So we're doing all of this stuff and everybody's getting in a hoopla, and the city might end up saying, like, as the study's kind of coming together, whoa, this is not even something we want to do. This doesn't even make sense anymore. And this is all happening for potentially not. And because these things take evolution, it's because it's an investment in whatever the area is. And what happens is when people get upset about grants, you know, there's grants and we don't have them or this or that, like the city's not going to make those kinds of decisions until the study's finished. They're not going to like open up grants for heritage downtown when there's no heritage downtown. Like it's just, it's you can't put the cart before the horse. I also want to touch on two things that I've thought about with respect to where I am in the 11th building. One thing I definitely am uncomfortable with is making such a, like Stephen had mentioned, such an overreach on this right now, so premature, so much misinformation, not anywhere near enough meetings, not enough data, not enough anything to make an informed, proper informed decision for everyone. I want to imagine that if we were to go ahead and move forward with this and say, hey, we're shutting this down, or we're going to go to council and we're angry. And in 3 years, just 3 years from today, some developer comes and buys my entire block and tears it down. I want people to maybe think about that very real reality. I've seen it so many times, as I'm sure Stephen has as well, with him working professionally. That happens. It's happening in Toronto. I've gone to Toronto and they have purchased entire blocks and just torn it down There's nothing there anymore. There's no character, there's no connection with the environment, there's no connection with the streetscape, there's no connection to anything. Number one, so that's the future potential, because that's very real. If we were to say we're shutting all this down, somebody could come in with $500 million, buy whatever, and just destroy it all. And all those beautiful pictures, which is that where I happen to be,
Wouldn't that be terrible?
would not be there. It's happened. Moving to the past, I want to think about if we would have made a decision to do heritage downtown, we'll just say 60 years ago. We wouldn't even have a highway. We'd have a beautiful water system. Everyone would be on the water. We had $1 million apartments opposing me on the other side. We'd have the old library. We'd have so much character. And guess what? We have enough. One of the biggest problems in Niagara and St. Catharines is brownfield land. Guess what? Put the theater, put the PAC, put the Meridian, put these things. There's so much land to use when you do not have a restrictive heritage designation that only beautifies the downtown. And what I find ironic is that the more people I hear, and I've heard even some of these board members, people here that have come back from Europe and raved about it, don't want to make the same investment here, which I find just very puzzling.
Downtown Belgrade.
I'm just saying, yeah, like there's and you know what? They're shutting everything down. They're like, oh, you want a car? Forget it. We're shutting the whole downtown, like all over the place. I mean, my daughter's living in Germany right now. London, Paris. Paris is shutting their downtown, whole piles of them for cars. UK already has. London downtown. I don't know Belgrade, but what I'm just saying is there's piles and piles of places because they have had such a growth in pedestrian traffic and people connecting with their environment and creating an incredible experience that they're only asking for more of it. And then people come here and then they're like, I just don't want that. I guess it's only in Europe. We can create that here for ourselves. But even in Europe, it's taken 40 years to get there. And I can say with confidence that when I think about the future, I'm just going to say 3 years, and if somebody was to buy our block and tear it all down, I would never want to be the person who votes yes for that. Never. I will never vote for something like this. So very much like Stephen is saying, and especially with my experience professionally, this is like, I almost feel like I'm taking crazy pills when I read this.
Joe has his hand up.
Joe? Oh, sorry. Amy has been waiting for a while. Joe, do you mind go after?
Anyways, I just encourage you to have conversations with the building owner of your building.
I already have.
Okay. And so also too, I have been in business for a long time and so have you, but I'm talking product in general. If I have an issue with product and I wait to the end of the season, they'll say you should have been proactive. You should have let me know something didn't work out. I think at this point, all we're doing is being proactive to say, hey, here are some serious red flags. And I think that they're like sincere red flags. Hence the reasoning that any business owner is having a hard time, one, getting money from any bank, is one, getting insurance from any bank. So those are just facts, right? We all know, we've all been in that situation.
But no one can get money from banks now anyway.
Right, so why ask?
Especially heritage.
No, it's just in general.
In general.
Especially heritage.
It's just in general.
No.
Okay, but just, let's not argue about it. We all just being on the same playing field is that banks aren't giving money. We are not, the insurance, it's going to be an issue. I can't even hardly get insurance down here. So, but the facts of even too, like demolition, me being just coming in to the downtown location, if I'm going to ask for permission, why did all these fires not ask for permission for demolition, which are also classified as a heritage building? Why didn't they go and say, hey, I need to have some permission to get some demolition here? So that's, and then also too, you were mentioning about construction. So I have a hard time because I've lost a lot of good friends in construction of the downtown core, being that any retail. So I don't know about that. Also too, if you looked at James Street, we pretty much in the last 3 years have been under construction. So I think with us, it's just like, we're crossing our fingers for people to come back to here, and being the sense that after COVID, everybody left these buildings, right? So now we have these two big high rises coming in. I just don't want to add any more layers for retail to come in here and into and invest. So I guess my biggest thing is I don't believe asking for this right now and having some valid concerns is being ridiculous or foolish. I think it's proactive. That's kind of where I'm stand. And I also see like anybody that's a business owner that actually owns the property, like put their hand up. Property owner?
I
Downtown.
represent a property.
But you
owner. I
represent,
decide
are
if
you,
it's-
do you go to the
I've
bank
talked
and
to the
insurance?
owner who I represent.
Oh,
okay?
no, I've talked to you.
But are you a business owner? Put your hand up.
Yeah, representing somebody is not.
It's not the same as being a business.
You don't-
100%.
Is your name on the
You
deed?
do not,
I
you do
don't
not
think that's
stay up at night.
appropriate to pick on individual board members.
But I'm just saying.
Well, I think the point she's trying to make is that, sorry, Joe, we'll go one more second here. The point she's trying to make is that it's easy. I mean, you guys, what you're speaking, I agree on a logic standpoint. Yes, it makes logical sense. Let's wait for the study to be done. But you're not the one who is exposed to cutting the checks. I essentially have a check waiting, and I have I can't do anything until the study is done. And then I find out the news, what the city is going to decide for what my future is. That is not something I'm prepared to risk my business, my family up against. You guys have the luxury of just looking at it from one point of view. And I wish that it was that simple, but it's not. And it's going to cost more money to the tenant, 100%, to the developer, 100%, to the building owner, 100%. There is no, you can debate it all you want, but I'm re-signing mortgages, I'm re-signing insurance policies. I know this like the back of my hand. I had the meetings with the professionals. They say it costs extra. Why don't the city, when they're doing the study, why don't they lead with that? If it's so clean and so evident and so clear, they lead with, it's a myth. They lead with, do you want your downtown to be New York City? They lead with it with false narratives that shape what you want people to think. You know, if they came and said, you know what, guys, this is going to cost a little bit more, but we're gonna give you some grant money to help offset that, you'd have a lot more people wanting to play ball. But
You're not even giving them a chance. to
Yes, they
say
don't have a
that.
chance. They don't have
But-
the information to say that.
the distrust is already there. Like,
No, it's-
why, you can't
No, let
even
him finish.
you
Let him
can't even
finish.
get them to admit that it's gonna be more expensive. We had to have a follow-up meeting with Meridian to go through it step by step. Hey, guys, and he said numerous times throughout the panel discussion, yes, this is gonna cost more money. It's going to slow down development. It's going to lessen your pool of developers and tenants. He's like, you know, this needs, you can't just come out and have a statement like that. Joe, you're waiting on this. I'm sorry.
Sorry, just before Joe, then Orhan, then Katie.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't, yes.
Joe?
Joe, go ahead.
Am I okay?
You're up.
And a further perspective, you know, I have to agree with our mayor. Our mayor has said, you know, residents across the city have voiced their opinion that high density residential development doesn't belong in their neighborhood. It belongs in the downtown. That, you know, there's unanimous consent that the 4 or 5 developments that are shovel ready, set to go, the mayor would be concerned that any sort of designation, district, large or small, is going to create another barrier for those developments to move forward. So, you know, we want the residential development downtown, and the mayor sees, you know, districts as a barrier, and whereas individual designations, we're all for that. So I just wanted to provide one more perspective. Thanks.
Okay. When I'm speaking about things, I'm not doing myths. It's not hypothetical. Speaking with people that actually have properties in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Like I mentioned, one fellow who's a close personal friend of my family, he's got probably 7 or 8 buildings down there. Nothing but trouble. Okay. I got a in black and white writing of an individual who was in real estate, who also owns real estate in Port Lucie. Not a good idea. The comments that were made by a person I know was not positive. Person who owns the property across the street, another friend of mine, again, not positive things in Port Lucie. When you hear not positive insurance, real estate developers, property owners in those areas, heritage, how would I consider, letting anything about heritage come in a conversation?
Why should they leave?
Why would I waste my time? I already did my homework.
District, not
Why don't they
individual.
buy
We're
somewhere else?
talking
Maybe that's not a good fit
Let
for
it-
them.
let it finish.
What I'm saying is.
I think
Listen,
that's hard.
These
to pick
are
up
not
and
dumb
move.
people. These are very smart people. These are very successful people. They've got stake in their properties, in their areas. They've improved their properties. They're one of the leaders in their sector. And they do a tremendous business, not because they're stupid, it's because they're smart.
And that's why they bought
understand.
Heritage. That's why they bought there.
There was a transition from regular buildings going to heritage. It wasn't heritage when they bought them in the 70s or even in the 60s. So you're not comparing apple to apple. See how you're flipping it around.
Okay.
The bottom line is I have yet to meet an individual who is a building owner or developer. Nobody has said, beautiful idea. Not one. And I talked to a lot of people. Stop interrupting, Stephen.
He's not
We stop.
interrupting.
I actually interrupted. It was me who
said
interrupted.
anything
we
yet.
have
Even had-
people,
I haven't said anything
keep
yet.
going, it's okay.
Good. I'm glad you're behaving today. Okay?
He always did.
Okay, let's just
Yeah.
call time out, guys. We wanna get through this meeting. Let's just, we have a vote coming. Mr. Oren, you wanna finish?
The bottom line is, I'm not speaking out of just hypothetical and just imaginary things. Okay, I'm speaking hard facts in writing. I've spoken to many people about this. Many people come to my store or call me regarding this. They are very upset. They're very concerned. People are playing with somebody's livelihoods here, guys. This is going to change a lot of things. My neighbor down the street, their insurance company says, well, you know what? I know you're not Heritage yet, but we have to charge Heritage insurance rates. And I said, you have to resist that. It's not Heritage yet. Well, because of the age of her building, she's saying now that we have to pay a higher premium. So I gave her a contact of an insurance company that majority of the people in the downtown core use, including myself. Sharpen's friends with them as well. Make a long story short, she's very concerned. They own the building, they own the store. They're new and they're trying to get going, and they don't need this extra cost of doing business because of this designation, heritage. They've already beautified their building. We should throw a parade for these people, what they've done to their building downtown. Honest to God, they took it from rags to riches looks. They did a beautiful job. Yes, it took a lot of time. Yes, the city, thank God, they helped them with their redevelopment. But I support our mayor too. The guy's a good guy. He's not stupid. Smart guy. I like what he's doing and I appreciate it. He's like-minded in business. He understands what's going on, the concerns. When you have the leader of our city, of our great city of St. Catharines, you've got to go behind the guy over and above of what I did, my homework. He did his homework. This man's been in the real estate business forever. Can't be wrong, people. Can't be wrong. The people that are making comments, I'm sorry, I don't want to offend you, but you're not a building owner. You don't have to deal with tenants. You don't have to cut checks all the time for different things. That's it.
Katie, I think, right?
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. So I think from being in the discussion when we talked about this motion in the executive meeting and then hearing everything around the table now, I think that I agree that the way that it's been written and the language that we've used is not appropriate for the point we're at in this stage at all, because if anything, it'll weaken our position further down the line, because we're commenting on things that haven't happened yet. And I think there's a lot of valid concerns that have come up. However, we're not addressing those with this statement. What we're doing is essentially fear mongering. And I think if we could be more specific in what our concerns are and put a statement forward before this study comes to its completion, then it will be more effective and have a better impact on what our needs are. So if we do end up having a heritage designation or something like that, if that does end up happening, for better or for worse, our concerns with that process are integrated into whatever the city decides. And I think by flat out stating that this is something we're against without knowing what that means, it looks like we're not being considerate and we're not open to hearing what the results could be. I also think that it's really important to remember that anecdotal stories are not evidence. They're not hard facts. They are stories. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So you're going to hear more of those negative experiences and those negative stories than you are positive ones. And just because you've been told by a handful of individuals or even from your own experience, it doesn't change what is true in general. And I think we have to consider that as well, that even though we might know what our experiences with it are, that doesn't mean it has to be that way. Maybe there's advocacy that we can do if we have concerns about the building permit process or about insurance. Maybe there's support that the municipalities can give us in addressing those. And I don't think that like saying this explicitly right now is a very good strategic move, or it really represents the interests of all of our members whatsoever. Maybe building owners and developers, but maybe not all of them, and definitely not all of our members.
Before we go for second comments, I just want to be mindful that it is already 11:55. We can go for the motions on the floor. We can do a vote if we so wish. And then go from there. If it doesn't pass, decide on.
Would everybody be in favor of calling the vote?
I just think though, but can I just like a quick question is like, we keep on talking about this statement and how it's untrue and how it's embarrassing. If we were just to like unpack it a bit, could we understand where they mean by that? Like, so what they feel is not good, just so that like we could proactively go in. Like, I would love to just like put out some facts that I feel like are true. And I think it would only be fair as the opposing side to say what they think is not good, so that we could take out certain parts to make it so that we're all understanding it properly, as opposed to saying this is the only letter that could go out.
Yes,
I think it's more like we need to cite these things. If we're making claims like that, we need to be citing things that are other than just our personal experience.
And you
Oh, I understand.
I
do understand that.
Amendment to the motion. There's a motion on the floor. It's to be changed in any way. You must make an amendment to the motion.
So before we go there, there's a couple of different options, because the other option was a statement of concern rather than a formal motion. So maybe we vote on the motion. I feel like some of the changes you want are detailed. So maybe it would be easier for us to vote on the motion that's currently on the floor, see where that goes. That doesn't go anywhere, then we vote on either a motion or a statement.
I think the key is just like, where do they see is untruth in there?
I don't think anyone's saying that there isn't truth in the statements. I think that that's what they're saying, is that it's just a statement. So like if I was going to do a study, like, which I've done many times, I'm a researcher. If I just hand them my statements, they're just going to go and put it in a shredder because I need to do an experiment or a study.
But I mean, you
and I need to get the information and say, on average, 33% of heritage properties had an increase in insurance of 13%. See Appendix A. Here are 500 examples in
But isn't that the study's job though? Like, why is it the board's job?
No, what I'm saying is that like we have to have something. I'm using numbers because I've done this a million times. I'm just saying.
And I think, Jen, just to like, I think what it is like we need that same burden of proof that we're representing our members and not just
making a statement.
Like, yeah, that's accurate toward, like, I think we need more buy-in from our membership than just, because it seems that we do have a lot of property owners or developers around the table in terms of our board, but that doesn't necessarily make up our membership.
I don't think there's only two developers on the board.
Or property owners specifically, as you would just, when we just had that little vote there.
So I have no hassle with recognizing the concerns that property owners have raised, none.
Yeah.
However, the process that the city is proposing is 2 steps. The first is to study the heritage status of all the buildings downtown. Bring that forward. And then I don't know whether with that information, there's going to be options presented, but but there will be an opportunity for options to be presented. So my only suggestion, I temper some of the words here, but my only suggestion is that the motion say we are concerned about a comprehensive blanket downtown heritage district and look forward to participating in phase 2 of the process when council makes the decision. I have no
I
hassle.
agree. I would support that as well.
Mr. Chairman, can we call for a recorded vote, please?
Sure. We ready? Any last call for any comments? We'd like to vote.
Just one question. I mean, could we not all agree that when he mentioned that there wasn't enough staff, that was very alarming in the sense of giving an individual designation for certain heritage buildings? When I hear blanket, to me, it just seems, and I don't know the words. I mean, it just seems a little bit lazy. Or maybe not enough employees, like what he had mentioned. When you blanket something, it's like, I can't bother, I'm just gonna blanket it all. I do believe there should be heritage 100%, but we also do need new in a downtown core, right? So when
There is allowed to be new.
I know, but
Yeah, and I think that's where the concern comes in, as opposed to flat out.
One sec, Katie.
I don't know. I guess that's just.
You have a bunch of staff working at 2 stores. You know how to run things. You understand how.
So
You're a businesswoman.
when people talking about staff, when you talk about employees, that's
Yeah.
No, that's
Tim
what they were
Hortons up the
saying.
street has trouble getting staff. Everybody.
No, I understand. No, the city in the heritage. He
Oh, in the
said, no, in
heritage.
the heritage, not me, I'm sorry. So I must,
I'm
and
sorry.
Mr. Ship, he said when he came to our meeting they didn't have enough staff, and that is why they said they're gonna blanket it. As opposed to designated, and that's what the gentleman said. So I said, individual blanketing or individual designation, I agree, there is heritage, beautiful. I don't know about that, but what I'm just saying is the blanket that
Oh, yeah, I've
upsets me.
done that. Yes, tons of times.
St. Catherine's recently?
No, not really.
Guys, let's get towards the vote. Katie, can you finish us off? You had a quick comment to make?
Sure. I was just gonna say, I think that like I share all of these concerns. Genuinely, I share them. But the thing is, I want them to be considered as concerns in the process, as opposed to us saying we're vehemently against this and then we get dismissed, instead of coming to them with genuine concerns that we're hoping can be worked out in the process, like the fact that we're concerned of a blanket designation, as opposed to saying we're flat out against this, because then they will not work with us. They won't have anything else to hear from us because we've already made our stance.
They didn't come to us in the beginning anyways. They're not really worried about what.
I know, and I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying, for our best interest, if we want them to work with us, we have to be open to that, even if they're not forthcoming with it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what she's saying, but I'm not gonna let my checkbook be at the disposal, like
But this is not about your checkbook. This is about the downtown association.
Example, Katie, like if you're a property owner, you have a lot of things that you have to worry about, and also too, if you're
but that is not this council though.
Okay,
that is not this board.
I think we've all made our comments.
That is a huge concern here with this discussion, because our fiduciary duties to the members, not our own personal thing. And I'm not saying that you can just absolve all of that away from any decision, but we're supposed to be doing a fiduciary duty to the membership in representing the membership.
So if the VP of Meridian says it's going to slow growth of downtown, it's going to limit your amount of financing, it's going to your pool of developers is going to be smaller, your tenants is going to be smaller. That to me is some pretty big detrimental economic. So that's not a fiduciary thing to me.
Guys, I think we need to just go to a vote.
Let's go to a vote.
Okay, so it's interesting. Niagara Lake is brought up quite regularly as an example of a disaster. I'll bet you City of St. Catharines business owners would love to have the traffic on
Exactly.
St. Paul's.
Don't care.
The Niagara
It's like,
Lake.
it's
Don't
It's different, it's like
care.
Jordan Village versus
I
the
mean,
downtown.
Like was the former
Like
capital
at
of
the
Canada.
Panhandle.
Their rents are higher and it's a whole
You
different
can't
ballgame.
You know, also-
I don't see-
Welcome an entirely new.
I don't see
investor
100
to
acres
downtown
of,
to do something like this.
I don't see 100 acres of stagnant
You're gonna see a lot of
developable
business
land
owners
in Niagara
not
Lake.
being able to
I don't
afford it.
see,
There would be-
for lease
there would be
signs
flux.
every 4 things. You know, the block that you're talking about, that you're so worried about someone
No,
coming,
no, I'm not
there
worried
is,
about it. I'm just
there is
using
like
as an example.
25,000 square feet of unused space in that block. You have apartments that are just sitting idle because the buildings are so far gone. There's no way fire and building will pass them, and they're just sitting empty in the same block that you're worried about people
I'm not
developing.
saying I'm worried. I'm not worried at all. I'm just using as an example.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I'm using as an example. This is a
Can we
fun.
move to a vote?
Photo vote.
Please call, I had asked for a recorded vote.
Can we get a recorded vote, please?
Yes, I'm gonna call out your name. Please state if you're in favor or opposed. David,
I'm in favor of the motion.
Orhan,
I'm in favor of the motion.
Stephen,
No.
Sharvin,
In favor.
Jen,
No.
Josh.
If you just.
Oh, sorry, he's having issues. I'll come back to you, Josh. Amy,
In favor.
Joe,
In favor.
Katie,
Against.
Josh,
I think he got kicked off during that, so you may want to rephrase.
we'll give him a sec or two.
Do we just want to text him?
If you're there, Josh, we are just
Yeah, good
going
idea.
to a vote to see if you're opposed or in favor. I will just let everybody know though, no offense, Josh, but your vote doesn't matter, but we do not have enough to go either way.
Can you,
Split vote.
anyone who wants, just text me, says, can you send this to let me know first?
Who?
We will, yeah.
The ones in your right now. He said yes, I mean, he's.
Guys,
I know, but
let's not argue. Let's just
No,
do a
no.
vote and then, just because it's getting too personal.
You want me to text Josh?
I just do it.
Oh, perfect.
You're gonna get more calls.
Yeah, you should.
No, it's already a no.
We currently have 5 in favor and 2 opposed.
Josh.
That was 3 opposed.
Sorry,
Yeah,
3 opposed,
three.
right?
Sorry.
I think his face has to be on the right or no?
Yeah, we do need to have this vote.
You can't hear us or can you hear us? Just waiting for your vote.
Put it on speaker.
Okay,
His face has to be on though, so unless
No,
you
it doesn't.
FaceTime.
No, it doesn't say.
You're
Was Joe's
you're
face on?
supposed to, Joe's on.
Yeah.
Oh, over there. I can't see, sorry.
Josh is coming back in, so maybe we can see.
You got Josh on the phone?
Yeah.
Put it on speakerphone.
Very good.
Thank you.
He even brought us cookies.
Rachel, yeah.
Yeah.
We need a bit of sweetening, I think. And a little,
I don't wanna be the
I
first.
think
little
you're gonna
unhappy,
I think you're
not
gonna
gonna
have
lie.
stuff like this though, if you have a, like. I don't know.
Hey, I'm back.
Josh,
Hi, Josh, just wanted to confirm if you're in favor or opposed to the motion.
I'm in favor.
So we have,
Who's that, Josh?
that was Josh. 6 in favor and 3 opposed, so we are still split vote. We
I
would need
think they
6.
just sent
7.
Luann, the link.
Well, the motion carries.
Depends. No, it doesn't. We need 7 for carry.
let me call him on.
Is it not a simple majority that we vote on?
It's quorum for the board, which would be 7. We have 12 on our board.
That's fine, but those that don't show, don't show. You've asked.
Still
for it.
quorum based on board numbers.
That's why Rachel was so intent on as many people being here as possible so that we can get the vote that's appropriate.
So we can wait, but maybe waiting a while, or I feel we should personally move forward.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, if they're not here, they're not here, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I think, you know, doing a statement that's more appropriate is all we need to do, like, because we are concerned. We do need data, we need to be included with this, not just the, you know, city and whoever else they're working with. And to state that.
If I may though, my recommendation, because I feel like the issues with the motion was too detailed maybe. So my plan would be to, or my recommendation would be to do a statement that is more higher level.
Yes.
So we have severe concerns.
Yes.
We encourage our members to do their due diligence. This is what we as a BIA have done. And we will be part of the discussion when the study is presented. And then when the study is presented, we do a more formal delegation to council, showing all of the due diligence we have done and the reasons we are either in favor or opposed to a heritage district.
I also think as well, I'm not sure if it was Joe that mentioned it, but with respect to the creative cluster master plan, maybe actually using a selection of examples of what we're actually trying to implore to the city that we would like to see, instead of just saying, hey, change it. I just think that we should be saying, you know, we're thinking, you know, because we are the people down here, right? To really help guide them with specific examples of what we feel the downtown may need with respect to that change for the CCMP. Again, so the city is just not looking at it saying, well, like, change what? Like, what do you want? It's a little bit, maybe just with some examples.
I know this isn't what everybody wants, but I feel like our motion is a motion for a board. It's not a motion going to council. Like, yes, we could share it with council, but council don't really listen to our motions, if you know what I mean, as much as we would want them to. I feel like a delegation when the study is presented will have the most impact. But I do feel it is imperative though still for us to have a statement of concern, to let our members know that we are concerned and encourage them to voice their concerns.
Absolutely.
But
Could you enlighten me? We've called a board meeting. We've asked for.
Milan, you're a speaker.
Hey,
Milan.
Hey there, sorry. I'm just currently on a rooftop, so it's a little bit noisy, but I'm working through it. I can hear you now.
Okay, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. We just want to know, are you for the motion that we proposed today?
We need to see.
Sorry, Rachel, Robert's rules of order. I don't think that you can.
Can I call Robin right now?
They need to see your face.
I don't think this is Robert's rules of order, Rachel.
Hold on. FaceTime you?
I don't see a FaceTime option with this phone number. Is there a Zoom link? Like I should be able to connect. I hope.
He hasn't been
But
part of the
if there's a
meeting,
phone number
he
with
hasn't been part of the
a
conversation.
FaceTime, yeah, I can do that.
You said it.
No,
Cat sent,
but he needs to
Cat
be
sent
here.
the link for
Needs to
Zoom.
be here.
That's why
Okay, let me- I'll
all
look. I'm gonna hang
the
out
simple
down.
majority always rules. I don't
Thank
understand.
you.
No, it's quorum. It's
Since when?
always,
it's part of the municipal act.
So everything we vote on.
yes.
It's like if we have a board meeting and 3 people show up, we can't do a board meeting, right? Because we don't have quorum.
Moving on to the next part.
Give him 2 minutes to see if we can get him to sign on.
So should I call Robin?
You can.
Should I call, like, should we,
But
should
you
all of
have
us
the
start
ability
calling
to
a
do
few
that, though,
people?
for sure,
But what I'm
yes.
saying is that this is not appropriate. This is an
It
action.
is appropriate. He gave his intentions to be part of it. Robin has given no intentions.
What I'm saying is he needs to get his face up there, like.
I made a mistake about that.
Yeah,
And he's
no.
gonna try very hard to be part of that. Oh. So, I mean, that's it. Sorry.
I know, but like
Sorry.
that was at like 11 o'clock.
Sorry.
I'm a little confused. I mean, you guys seem really upset about this. When I think we're actually all on the same page and same team here. It's just the specific language of the motion.
See her. Can we see her?
I'm here.
Yeah, she just goes on and on.
She's up there.
Right there.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so it seems like I think that we're maybe being a little bit reactive here in that we don't have to make this motion this board meeting. And that I think that I don't understand why we can't work together on a statement that makes sense for everyone here, because it seems that we agree on a lot of the concerns we have. And I'm just
Obviously,
wondering
you've
why.
never worked with the city.
No, I absolutely have. I've had an incredibly difficult experience with the city, incredibly difficult, multiple
Building and
times.
zoning and planning?
Yes. I can tell you all about it, David, another day. It was a nightmare. However, that being said, I actually have learned a lot from that, and I do not think that this is going to get us what we want whatsoever. And I think that we all can find something that we agree upon, and then there's not really a rush to absolutely pass this motion today when it's creating such a divisive and emotional response from everyone. I don't think that's very strategic or smart on our behalf.
There he is.
Hi there. Sorry, guys. The connection here is not the best, and it's quite a crowded place. Can you hear and see me?
Yes. Sorry. I just also want to make one note before this happens. This is being publicly recorded. This is being publicly recorded and will be available for people to, like, all of our members and all of the public to see. So if we're comfortable with moving forward knowing that, then that's great.
Okay,
Milan is entitled to his vote. You've got him.
Milan, do you vote? I think Rachel was doing the
He isn't even at the meeting. Like,
he has
not been at this
at the
meeting.
meeting for this whole conversation and all the stuff discussed.
You have to have him present. He's present now. And he's entitled to a
So
vote.
maybe in 15 minutes, I'll call Robin and then we can discuss it again.
She's made no intention of being here.
This is not the point, is
Anyway.
that we're not in disagreement.
Let's see how
We just need a different statement.
Okay, well, Milan's here. He's a board member. We're taking a vote. I don't see why he can't vote right now, and we don't have enough to ratify this anyway, right? So what's the big deal?
It would.
Well, it would with him.
It would. So this is not cool. This isn't cool. Like I'm gonna sit here. How about we all call the other board members? Get a hold of them.
He was already on the docket for saying he was coming. Robin could have been here to support your. She chose.
I agree with you.
She chose not to come.
Sharman, I'm in agreement. We need a different statement so we don't look like an idiot going to council or going anywhere. And this includes.
That's your opinion, though. But the majority of the board is spoken and said that we do care. And this is just
there's a vote. There's a vote.
Stephen, myself, we agree with you. We don't need to take this step to go 4 steps back if this is denied. We want to have the proper statement going forward.
That's your opinion. Okay. Let's take a vote and finish this up and move forward.
Milan, would you be in favor or opposed to the motion on the floor?
Hi there. Sorry if I've caused any
No, you haven't at all. You're great.
No
confrontation. I would have been there. We just booked our flight last minute. So in general, I'm against the heritage proposal.
So do you support
and if there's
the motion?
another vote required, like when I'm back, I have no problem attending and submitting my vote. I would have been there in person today. We just had a last minute vacation with some friends, and I sincerely apologize. I would have been there in person to vote if I had the capacity to do so.
Milan, just to confirm, were you aware of the motion on the floor and what it entails? Have you?
Yes. I received all the emails. I submitted my vote as well via email. I don't know if those were accepted. I know that normally these things are done in person. So yes, I'm fully aware of what's going on. Yes.
To confirm, sorry, I know you had done by email as well, but just to confirm in person here, so to speak, would you be in favor or opposed to that motion?
In favor.
Thank you. So with that, the motion does
Well, I think I'm gonna call Robin.
carry.
Yeah.
I will say though,
Did do a vote already though.
It's
Jen,
just like, this is
it's
ridiculous,
it's
Rachel.
forum.
Yeah,
So-
that's, I understand, but this is really like unbelievably
Robin
excessive.
won't do,
Yeah.
her
It was a
vote won't
democratic
change
vote.
anything.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, David. What I'm saying is this is just not cool. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
He already said he read the motion and he
No,
said.
that's not it. That's not
It
it.
is not part of any of the conversations. He
That's-
did not
No, the
hear.
rule says that
He was part of a lot of conversations prior to this.
Oh, and he could have been in the
This is
meeting and all this kind of stuff. I don't know.
This is the
But-
meeting. If you can't come to the meeting, you're not part of the meeting.
that's not the point,
Unfo-
Stephen.
It is,
Stephen
it is
that you could
absolutely
see
the.
him and he voted.
Here's the thing.
She's entitled
This is,
to.
I'm leaving.
this is not professional.
That's-
This makes
it's-
no sense.
it's
We do
illegal.
not,
Okay.
we don't even look like we have it together
This is-
submitting
this is
something
illegal.
like this.
Jen, there's no question. This has been duly accepted.
No, it hasn't.
It sure has.
There's been three
But
board members.
It
that
doesn't,
voted
it
against
doesn't
it.
preclude
Like, how is
that you could have made an amendment
Okay.
to the motion, which was not done.
So I think we have a lot, I just want to bring the meeting back down, even though I know it's quite high and heated. And I know it's a very contentious subject, but I want to bear in mind that, no, and Milan, I sorry that it feels like we're picking on you a little bit
No,
here. Do not
no,
take
it's
it
not
that
his
way.
fault.
No, not your fault, but I want us to think, we mayor council. So if councillors were to be out of a meeting and then come in just for the decision, that councillor would probably get raked across the coals pretty.
100%.
But he's got the right to,
They do, unfortunately. I agree.
and that's what was
I'm
told.
just,
If you're not
I'm just want to remember that we are mirroring council. Our actions are public, just like councils are
Yeah,
public. Our meetings are
absolutely,
recorded and shared.
Absolutely.
Now, if we can move on slightly,
I am going to duck out.
but I do think it would be good for you to be here.
No, I'm done. I've got to leave. I can't even believe this is happening. It's so ridiculous.
But you know, what? I have a lot of respect for our city council and regional council, and I understand. I get it. You know what? They participate on Zoom like everybody else. He was aware of the information. You know, like I said, we're not doing anything.
Nobody's ramming it.
So
We're
I'm,
not ramming it
He
through.
had to.
Guys,
vote.
I think this is just all it has to come down to. Is it legal or not legal? Cause I'm not aware. Can he vote at this time? Yes or no?
Yes.
Well, I'm not asking, I'm asking Rachel.
I
Does she
need to
know?
do my due diligence. I've never
Okay.
had this experience.
Okay,
before.
so cause I don't know either. I just,
So I will look into it. Regardless of that, though, if this proceeds, I do think we need to have a bit of an action plan in terms of, this is our motion, great. Do you, like, our motion is for us, it's not necessarily for council. We don't dictate what council does or says.
Correct.
So I can share this
Yeah.
with, you know, the mayor, whoever. But I do think it is important, though, instead for us to focus on what's our messaging to our members and what are our next steps. I think that is what should be our focus, because council aren't ready to listen until the study is presented.
We know that they're gonna do a different process when it comes down to the information. Us as a board, we are deciding pre any other consultations that they may have, we want them to understand that we are in this position and we've done our homework, we've discussed it. We have the information.
Rachel, unfortunately, I have to leave as well.
We are over,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Katie,
Yeah.
to be continued.
Mhm,
That's all.
absolutely. Bye, everyone.
Thanks,
Take care.
Katie. It looks like Joe might be going too. Thanks, Joe.
I'm also gonna hop off, but I do want to say if we need to do a revote with me in person, I have no issue doing that. Again, I apologize if it created any confrontation or a situation where the legality of my vote was unclear. Again, like I'm happy to submit in person in like 2.5 weeks. Like there's no issue there. I was hoping to be there today, but I just, schedule conflict and there's nothing really I could do about it. So my apologies, and I hope everything kind of turns out okay.
Thank you, Milan. Have a great vacation,
Yeah, buddy, Julie.
work trip.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys.
Bye, Mila.
Well, I feel like, I don't know if we wanted to, I know there's a lot more on the agenda that we haven't got to, but I feel like, I
do
don't
we
know how
have enough
much.
people at this point?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no. We don't have quorum anymore. And I feel like today was quite heated and I feel like we might need to just take a break.
See,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.